Good evening. I'm Mary Love and welcome to Country Living. I made a banana pudding earlier and I was talking about what I was going to be making for dinner. And I'm going to I got this recipe off of Pinterest. It looks really good, so I'm going to give it a try. It's called Skillet Cheesy Beef and Veggie Macaroni. I'll put the full recipe in the description box below, but I'm going to cut it in half since it's just me and my husband. We don't need a big old 9 by 13 dish of this, so let's get started. I'll get you around here where you can see this skillet. Let me push you down just a little bit farther. Oh, there we go. Perfect. All right. Get this skillet heating up. To this skillet, I'm going to add 1 pound of hamburger meat. That's the only thing I didn't cut in half. It calls for 1 pound of hamburger, and I just figured I'd leave it that way. Alright, let me wash my hands and I'll be right back. Now, to this hamburger meat, we're going to add half of a small onion. We don't want that. We want this one. We're going to let this hamburger meat cook with these onions. We're going to let that hamburger cook, and then we'll be right back here in just a moment. Alright, let me make sure this thing is recording. Well, it shows it is, but now then, we're going to drain the grease off of this. And the easiest way to do that is to pull it all over to one side, tip that pan up, let all that grease go to that other side there instead of taking all this out of the pan. Taking the paper towel, dipping that down in there, and soaking all that up. Hope that's recording. It ain't showing no timestamp. Alrighty. Throw this away. Now, to that, we're going to add our seasonings, which is garlic powder, paprika, dried parsley, which I left that out, chili powder, salt, and ground black pepper. We're going to add that. We'll stir that up. Now then, we're going to add, this calls for 1 3/4 cups of milk, but I cut that in half. Beef broth, tomato sauce, macaroni. You can use any kind of pasta shell you want. I used some macaroni noodles and some shells. I got to get some bag of mixed vegetables out of the freezer. It calls for 1 cup of mixed vegetables. Well, it calls for 2, but I'm putting more in. Whoop, sorry about that. All right, mix that up. Ooh, it's pretty. I think I might add just a handful more of some mixed vegetables. Maybe another half a cup. There we go. Now then, we're going to let this come to a boil. Then we will turn it down to simmer. We'll put a lid on it, let it simmer for 20 minutes. After that, we'll take the lid off and put some cheddar cheese in it. So I'm going to let this come up to a boil and let it simmer, and I'll be right back. Alright, it's come to a boil, so I'm going to put a lid on it. I'm going to turn that burner down to simmer and set the timer for 20 minutes. And I'll just stir it once in a while, and we'll be back here in just a little bit. Alright, I'm glad I cut that recipe in half, because that made a lot, even cutting it in half. So the recipe calls for 2 cups of cheddar cheese. I've got a mild cheddar, and there's probably a cup, maybe a little over in here. So I'm going to add all of this in here. Give this a stir, and then this is done. We're going to let it sit for about 15 minutes before we eat it. That way everything, all the cheese gets melted and everything kind of gets married together and thickens up, which it's pretty thick now already. This reminds me a whole lot of Hamburger Helper. But it sure does look good. Alright. So I'm going to put the lid back on it and let it set for about 15 minutes. We'll take it off the heat. And in just a few minutes we'll be back and I'll give it a taste test. My bad. This doesn't have to set for 15 minutes. That's another recipe I was thinking about. So I'm going to go ahead and get some of this out on a plate. And we'll give it a try. Let me raise y'all back up here where you can see my messed up hair. Woo! I've been cleaning the pool. And yeah, my hair is a little wonky tonight. Alrighty, let me grab me a plate and we'll get some of that out and try it out. There's my spoon. I made me a pan of cornbread earlier to go with it. Alright, oh, gotta have some salt. Must have salt. That is a must. me a slice of this cornbread. It's cooled off by now. Alrighty. Here's what it looks like. Looks good. Hope it tastes good. Smells good. If it don't taste good, I'll be honest about it. Probably should have got me something cold to drink, because this is steaming. It needs something. I'm not sure what. I'm not sure what it needs, but it needs something. But it's good. It's just missing something. I'm not quite sure what it is. This is the cornbread I made earlier. Mm. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. I don't know. If you try this recipe and you think it needs something different or something else added to it, let me know what you add to it. I started to add some pecani sauce. Now I'm kind of wishing I had it, because that might have been what it needs. Or maybe a different kind of cheese. But anyway, it is good. Well, that's it for my dinner. I hope you'll give this recipe a try. Like I said, I'll put the description in the recipe in the description box below. If you're new to my channel, by the end of this video, I hope you've heard or seen something that you like and that will make you consider subscribing to my channel. If you do so, and I hope you do, please hit the bell notification so that every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified of it. Whew, this hair is a hot mess. For the subscribers that I already have, thank you so much. I am so excited. I got a new one. Thank you, whoever you are. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. I'm like a little kid in the candy store. I appreciate it so much. My prayer for you is that you will have a peaceful night's rest, that you will wake up in the morning refreshed and renewed, ready to meet a new day. With each new day comes a whole new start. You can do tomorrow what you thought about doing today and just didn't get around to it. All my life I've heard that tomorrows are today's yesterdays. So don't put off what you can do tomorrow, because we're not promised our next breath and life is short. So do today the best you can with it. And that way tomorrow when you wake up, you have no regrets about today. But God bless, take care, and until we meet again, have a wonderful evening.